Welcome you 7,000 amazing subscribers to a very special live stream with the One Woman Purple team, Maril Vernon. My internet dropped out just before this, so it's going to be an interesting one today, folks. In fact, I couldn't even see the intro video playing. So drop a message in the chat if you're seeing me okay, and also let me know if you're not. But whether you're watching live or on the replay, a massive welcome and an even bigger thank you for giving up your time to engage with our content. As always, streaming live with the chance for our audience to ask us anything throughout. But before we begin, for those that are new to the channel, my name's Simon Linstead and I'm the founder of the InfoSec Live community. And by sharing stories and best practice over the last few months, it's led to nearly 100,000 views of our content here on YouTube by you, our amazing subscribers. All possible now, thanks. Do I keep freezing? Am I still freezing, Meryl? Or can you hear me now? Can we hear me now? Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Back to the script. If it keeps breaking up, let me know and I'll try switching the internet. And a big thanks now to our channel sponsor, Rapid7. A big thank you to Owen and the team for all the amazing swag which turned up in the studio today. If I take a step back, you should be able to see the t-shirt and also a bit of a rucksack here full of goodies. So very, very excited about that. And thank you very much, Owen and Rapid7. Our organizations have got great synergy and we're excited to see how we can serve the wider security community in 2023 and beyond. I've got a little QR code for you here. Where is it? There we go. No, wrong one. Hold on 1 second. Seamless today. It's all going wrong, isn't it? QR code and image. It is. It's up the top left-hand corner. That takes you to their fundamentals section on their website, which has got some amazing free resources on cloud security, vulnerability risk management, AppSec detection and response, and so much more. Watch this space for events and more details coming on soon on how InfoSec Live and Rapid7 will be working together moving forward. Another special shout out to our existing channel members. Thank you for your support. And of course, if anyone watching would like to support the community, please click that join button with 3 levels of membership available for you there. But whether you join or not, being here and engaging with our content is what really matters. So time for the show. And when I first met today's guest in San Francisco this year, I knew we had to get her on. Maril Vernon, known as the One Woman Purple team, is an award-winning ethical hacker, senior application security architect, and Purple Team program manager. She's also the co-host and co-founder of the Cyber Queens podcast, an all-female lead podcast aimed at increasing female and LGBTQ diversity in cybersecurity. She also serves as the COO of Teach Kids Tech, a non-profit organization with the goal of getting technology and its educational resources to children in underprivileged communities and increasing technical capability and cyber awareness in tomorrow's workforce. She's been named one of the Epic Women in Cyber 2023, Cybersecurity Top 10 Women in Cyber 2023, Women's Cyber Jitsu Pentest Ninja Award winner, and a finalist for Cybersecurity Woman of the Year, Hacker of the Year, and Cybersecurity Woman of the World 2023. Let's bring her on and find out how she got to where she is today in another episode of My Cyber Pathway. It's really not a good internet day today, I don't think.
I was like doing my,
Oh, I think I'm losing you again now. I don't know if this is just me or whether anyone else, whether it's my connection or Meryl's. Perhaps someone could let me know in the chat. You keep dropping out now, Meryl. I don't know if I'm the same. We'll see how we go with the connection. I may have to switch mine in a moment. Yours is showing yellow, 8 out of 10 network connection, and mine's a 9 at the moment. So between us, we've got an average of sort of 7.5-ish.
Excellent. We're just going to roll with it and see how well we do.
I think that's the way. So this year, or recently, Meryl, has been pretty amazing for you, right? Talk to me about that.
Yeah, this has just been a crazy magical year where I guess a lot of the foundational work that I've laid the last few years is finally culminating, and it's all happening in one crazy year. When I ask my friends, hey, guess what I did today? They're like, I don't know, got nominated for another award. And I'm like, God, you make me sound so horrible, but yes, but like I'm really not that pretentious, I swear.
I know you're not. After meeting you, you're also a really nice, down-to-earth person, despite winning all of these awards. But what I want to talk about today, before we get on to where you are now, is your journey in. How long have you been in the industry, Meryl? How long is it now? I've lost you, I think.
Just a list of 2019.
Wow.
Did my answer come through? Okay.
Wow. It did. August 2018, I think, is where it came through in the end. You are breaking up a little bit. I think it's stabilized now. What made you get into cybersecurity, or shall we start somewhere else? Talk to me about what you did before cybersecurity first.
Yes. So before cybersecurity, I worked in marketing. So no one's surprised, I was a social media manager and copy editor for a very large entertainment brand for Caesars Entertainment, actually. And I originally became interested in cyber because I was at a point in life where I was a single mom and I was bored with my career. I was good at it, but I was bored. I'm going to talk about this in an upcoming talk for the Diana Initiative. But basically, I was at a point where they brought me in because I learned quickly and I kind of hit the ground running. Entire month, 1 month into the job.
Wow.
So I did that. I learned the whole department. In the department while she was gone, nothing burned down, everything survived. She came back, I got put back in my role, and then I was bored because I was like, I've already run the whole department. So now what do I do? There's like nothing left to learn. So I originally picked cyber because I wanted to make a good salary so I could provide for my children as a single parent. I wanted normal working hours, 9 to 5, weekends off with my kids. And I just wanted the most insanely difficult thing possible so that I would never, ever kick back and be like, I just know everything now. There's nothing left to learn cyber-wise.
You strike me as the kind of person who could get bored easily if that was the case. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm not a know-it-all, but I'm a learn-it-all. So I learn things pretty easily. So I tend to hit the knowledge ceiling a lot with the softer industries I had tried before cybersecurity.
Well, you certainly picked one that ever evolves and gives you an opportunity to constantly learn. My brain at nearly 50
That's why I love it.
You see, I would love it if I could retain the information now. I use the analogy that people say that your brain can be like a sponge. At 49 years old, mine's like a sponge with a rain slicker over it. So everything just sort of runs off. It's the problem with age, you see, Meryl. So you've achieved all of this in just a few years. What's next? What are your plans?
I'm not sure I understand. Yeah, I lost you briefly.
Yeah, sorry. I think the connection's still pretty poor. You've achieved all of this in such a short space of time. What's next?
Yes.
What are your plans for the future?
Oh gosh. Well, for those of you who haven't been following me, first brand was kind of that completely cold and untechnical out of nowhere, and talked to my promotions and then got better at my job. And then I built purple teaming. So I became recognized for my expertise in red teaming and purple teaming. And now I'm transitioning my brand again into more cyber resilience thought leadership. So really, let's move on from purple teams as a team, and let's just move into collaborative security as an industry, as an enterprise, you know, for the whole org, and get lots of teams team in order to do collaborative security and see its benefits. So influencing senior leadership, total org resilience type role.
So it sounds to me like a massive challenge, and that's why you've taken that on, or is there another reason for taking that on?
Absolutely not. You know, it's just something that aligns. I pick, everyone thinks that I make these really risky, like crazy moves. And I'm like, if you think about it realistically, pretty much every career move and leap that I've made has been a calculated risk that's very closely aligned to things I'm already doing and plays up to my natural strengths. So even if there is a small learning curve, I'm on it.
I missed that. Sorry, I think
Probably
you
for
broke up
that role.
again. Let me, I keep losing you, Meryl. Let me just check my connection, my end, to see if it's me. Do you mind just checking yours as well? See if there's anything running in the background.
Yeah, I've only got
Thank you.
one, but no one else is using my internet except for me. So I don't know what the problem is.
My children are in bed. So they're definitely not on social media or Xbox at the moment. But my connection has been a bit spotty all day today. But let's keep pushing.
We're not even having bad weather.
Whereabouts in the US are you based?
Community.
Whereabouts are you based in the US, Meryl?
So I'm in the Sierra Nevada mountains of Reno. So I'm very close to Tahoe. If you think of Tahoe, California, I'm very close to that. So we're way high up in the mountains, but we're having a beautiful day today. So connectivity should be fine.
It's probably me. Question for you now. Who's been your biggest inspiration? Let's stick to cybersecurity industry. Has anyone inspired you since you've joined this industry?
I brag on her friends at my level now here in InfoSec. That I looked up to, that who's just the first Googling my butt off, like who are the women in cyber you should follow. Two big ones were Chloe Mezdahi and Alyssa Miller. They just happened to be the first ones that I came across. And Tanya Jenka. Actually, Tanya's She Hacks Purple is what my handle is based off of, She Who Hacks. So I found these women and I was like, wow, look at them. They became such moguls in their space and such thought leaders, and they're so accomplished and they've done all these things and they're winning all these awards and publishing books and all this stuff. And I was just like, I want to be like them. I want to be like these ladies one day. And everything I've done has been in the effort to be up there on their level in their sphere.
And it does motivate you, right? I spoke to someone who I call a friend now, who is the person who inspired me to set up the YouTube channel and start doing this a couple of years back. And that's someone who's got tons and tons of experience in the industry, Dr. Gerald Ozier. In fact, when we were chatting earlier, Jerry did say, please invite Meryl to see if she'd like to come on Simply Cyber. So I'll do that live while we're here now. But I think it's so important to have people to look up to. And that brings me to a non-cybersecurity related part of the questioning from someone who was brought up by a single mum. For the majority of my childhood, I saw the struggles that my mum, as a professional, she was a solicitor. I saw the struggles that she went through with the whole work-life balance. What are your tips for other single mums out there who are trying to do the same thing but think they can't because they've got too much on their plate? What would your message be for them?
Oh, yeah, that's a big one. The work-life balance struggle never really goes away, because as you kind of do more, there's kind of more demands on your time. Like I've spoken, I think 6 times this year, and I'm going to speak quite a few more at summer camp coming up. So Back in those early days, I did it with very young children. I had an infant and a toddler, which was great because while they're very needy, like logistically, you don't really have to entertain them, right?
No,
They kind of like they're not really
put them, yeah.
plop them and then just kind of monitor, ongoing monitoring and alerting, right? The alert pops up.
Yeah.
Deal with toddler, get snack. So I honestly just spent a lot. I also started learning cyber when we first went remote during the pandemic. So made available to me, which was great. Found those pockets of time. While I was folding laundry on a Saturday morning, I would have a webinar up once the kids went to bed. And I'm not a very big advocate for working harder than smarter, but during those first initial years, I did have to pull some late nights and I had to study on the weekends. And pretty much I wanted to savor my time with my kids, but pretty much anytime they didn't need me, I was fully fledged, dedicated into my learning material. And now that it's, they are older and they're like, Mom, come play with us. And I'm like, I have to have a meeting. What I do is I give myself blocks of time. So a block for productivity, because if you move too many directions and too quickly, the quality of the work suffers. So I'll say like, I have to get this 3 hours of work done. I can hang out with you for an hour. We can play games. We can watch a movie. We can whatever. But like that is not. I give them that really big dose of filling up. And then I say, now I have to do exactly these 5 things, and then I'll be back with you.
And do you know what?
So, I would just say to...
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, you're breaking up. So I was talking over you without meaning to then. I would argue that gives you more quality time with the children than trying to cram everything all at once without segmenting that. And I think as a parent, whether a single parent or co-parenting with, we've got 6 children, we've just got back from vacation yesterday with 5 of the youngest ones in a hotel for a week. And I'm exhausted, absolutely exhausted from it. But I think that's because for a week, I managed to have all my time dedicated to them. But normally, even though I work from home and I'm here all the time, and I say that I'm with my children all the time, in reality, my mind isn't. And you can be with them, but not present, right? So to me, it's pretty worthless. My 7-year-old daughter said to me the other day, she said, will you play with me, Daddy? I said, I have been playing with you. She said, well, you might have been here, but you weren't listening. And I think that's the thing. So if you're managing to segment that time and actually devote specific one-on-one with them, that's amazing. You're frozen with the best face on my screen. I don't know if it's the same for everyone else, but you're doing this.
I love it when the young ones throw shade at us and keep us honest. Yeah. My shock and awe face. By the way, I've closed down all of my programs. So literally the only window I'm running right now is this one. So I'm so sorry, InfoSec Live. No, I think that's true because honestly, I am very active on socials, and I do have my personal brand as well as my work, as well as my speaking work and my travel. And that takes constant coordination. We need a bio. Can you turn in this article? Can you blah, blah, blah. Me at all times. And that's why I decided I would get doses of my attention, really do an activity that they're getting kind of charged, and then I come back and give them some more. But my mom at one point was like, Meryl, when you were little, you didn't have to compete with a smartphone. And I was like, you know what I did compete with though? The corded phone. You were talking to your friends all the time too. Okay. Yeah. So parents have always had, just those demands on our time. And I feel a lot of parents feel bad when we travel, right? And travel is so beneficial for our jobs because when you get in front of other people, like Simon, I met you at RSA.
Yeah.
We're really able to further ourselves and our visibility and our platforms and our projects. And we feel bad taking that time away from them. And then, we come home and we're exhausted, right? We're like, I just did the conference cadence for a whole week. I am burnt out. And they don't care. They're like, I missed you. Play with me. So it's a constant energy struggle. It's a constant need to know how to balance and really give yourself that quality over quantity time with your families when we're busy.
And here's the question. Here's the follow up to that then. This is coming from someone who had a complete breakdown 3.5, 4 years ago because I didn't spend any time on myself. How do you look after yourself with everything you've got going on? How do you make sure that you've got time for Meryl?
I missed that one more time.
No worries.
One more time, ask your question.
It's very important spending time. Yeah, so it's very important spending time with the children. But as someone who had a breakdown 4 years ago from not looking after themselves, how do you make sure that you get Meryl time to actually be self-caring for yourself? Or is that something you're sacrificing for the moment while you build things?
Oh gosh, what? Yeah. That's kind of a loaded question for me. That's kind of a loaded question for me because the Queens just talked about burnout. We've talked about it multiple times, and recognizing that in yourself. And I'm horrible because I'm someone who just goes and goes and goes and goes, and kind of like that is how I recharge myself. I feel like I thrive when I'm doing multiple things, and that's not the same for everyone. Please don't say if I'm not Meryl level hustling, I'm doing it wrong. That's not the case. In fact, my good friend now that I met at your dinner, Stepan, he asked me, he's like, how do you stop? I was like, I go get a massage. I get a pedicure. He's like, no. Rest. Like, what does rest look like for you? And I was like, I don't do that.
Yeah. You see, I don't want to play devil's advocate here, but I used to think exactly the same as that. And think that was how I recharged until I got to the point where I just couldn't go on any longer, Meryl. So my aged wisdom of 50 years tells you that you've got to take some time out for yourself, and that doesn't just mean having a massage every other week. It means actually taking time. So this is the father figure telling you off now for working too hard.
I will say that rather than taking those periods off, like I do kind of hibernate in the winter, there's not as much speaking to do, webinars kind of slow down. But like people look at me and they're like, wow, you're winning awards, you work a full-time job, you run a nonprofit, you run a podcast. Like when are you a robot? Do you sleep? And I'm like, yes, I sleep. I have quality time with my family. I'm not great at recognizing the signs of burnout until I'm in it. Yeah. And then I know how to recharge myself and get myself out of it. But I will say that I do try to unplug regularly. Like I take those buckets of time, like yesterday in the afternoon, logged out right at 4:30, spent like 3 hours in the blow up pool with my kids, just playing, making memories, having fun. Yeah. Didn't pick up my phone once. So for me, it's kind of like, I can't remember what that book was called. I think it was called The 4-Hour Work Week or something like that, where he doesn't talk about taking a final retirement at the end of your life. He talks about how highly productive people take mini retirements and kind of start a new project and then retire from that, savor some time off, start a new project. That's kind of what I do. I'm kind of continuously, iteratively taking time for myself when I need it.
That's super important. I mean, the way my brain works, being able to have different projects to refresh yourself, and it does work, but if you end up doing the same thing all the time, I think that's where the biggest danger of the burnout comes, because you don't just get burnt out, you lose the will to live with it a little bit as well if you're not enjoying it. And if you're the sort of person who enjoys achieving things and doing new things, I think you're absolutely right. I think that is a form of rest or a form of mental rebalancing when you can move on from one project and then start another one or flit across. Definitely. There's intermittent retirement someone's put.
Yes. And sometimes for me, that looks like, I've hit a plateau with a project. So I was super fired up about it and I joined and I made some change. Really hold my interest, or I kind of dread going to, I will say, change of project scenery, right? Contributed all that I can for now. Let me know if we start a new initiative. But for now, I'm gonna put into something else. And I want to work on that now, and I get all jazzed about that. And that jazz overflows into my other things. So sometimes it's just like working at a cafe instead of your home office. Sometimes it's just a change of project, a change of people, a change of scenery, that recharges my batteries.
Love it. Do you want another loaded question? I'll take the pause.
Yes.
I'll take the pause as a yes. Yeah. Okay. So you've achieved stacks this year. You've told me what your plans are for the future. Why do you do it? What drives you to do it? Because that's the most important one, right?
Oh gosh, yes. So if you used to ask what drives me, up until about 2015, I would have said fear of failure, like the fear of absolutely disappointing everyone who's ever looked at me throughout my life and conditioned me to be like, Meryl, you're so smart. Like, I'm a decently smart and capable person. I've always been a little quicker on the uptake than some of my peers. So people are like, we expect such great things from you. We can't wait to see what you do with your life. Like you're so accomplished and like you can achieve anything. And I started to like carry the weight on me. Like if I don't do something worthwhile, I have let all these people down. Far and reached and worked so hard. Now I would say I do it out of personal fulfillment. When I introduce myself to somebody or when someone learns about me and they learn about the things that I've contributed and how I've given back and like they think that I am a quality individual based on the work that I've done and that I've, enriched the lives of other people, that's why I do it. That's why I work so hard to work on all these resources, work on all these nonprofits, work on all these non-revenue generating initiatives that just help people, because without people having helped me, I wouldn't be here. Yeah. And I'm literally living my best life in all the fulfilling ways possible. And I just want that for as many people who feel hopeless.
I love that answer. And it took me until 46 years of age to work out that happiness lies in helping other people. And I think there's no such thing as altruism, because if you help other people, there's nothing that makes you feel better than doing that.
Yes.
Yeah. I can.
Like someone asked me what I wanted for Christmas, and 3 years ago, I was like, literally nothing. I buy myself whatever I need or want. If I want something, I go get it. I save and I work towards it. I was like, I just love having us all together, having a glass of wine, laughing, seeing my children open the things that they've idolized.
I love it.
Are we back? There? We're back, I think.
Still there?
Yep, I'm here.
You're back. Yep. You're back.
Yeah.
There's a few comments in the chat I want to bring up quickly and a couple of questions. There's this one from Medusa, which really resonates with me, being someone who was diagnosed at 47. ADHD for me, says move on. Yep. If only I'd have known what was the reason for me constantly needing to move on and be stimulated, it could have saved me a lot of stress, which leads me back to another comment in here, which I'd really like to address, which is this one.
I'm nervous.
Yeah, well, this makes me nervous and sweat, because there's a bit of synergy here from my past life. Controversial question, but does anyone in the industry use substances? I love the way you use the word substances there for caffeine, Adderall, etc., to keep up with work. Is that a thing people do? If I can just cover that off before I pass it over to you. The reason I had a breakdown and went from being very successful to losing everything a few years ago is because I relied on substances to cope on a daily basis. And I'm not saying that's going to happen to everyone, but I'm not a great believer in crutches. I think if you need a coffee to keep you awake for another hour to do some work, I think that's absolutely fine. But I think you need to be very careful if you're thinking about using anything as any kind of stimulant to help you get through the day. Meryl, what do you think about
that? So a lot of people don't know this, but I compete in bodybuilding competition. I have the bodybuilder's mindset when it comes to stuff like that. We believe in supplements, in supplementing stuff that you need. So if you need to supplement a vitamin, supplement an energy source for a short term, you'll see benefit, but eventually your body will get used to it and it will become a crutch. So I don't believe in using those things to sustain a lifestyle sustainable. But every few months, I'll go off of caffeine for like a month just to reset. And then I have my first coffee and it really works because I haven't gotten, I weaned myself off of it. So I will say I do know some ADHD. It helps them stay motivated with the vigor and passion they're used to. And I know people who don't need anything at all, like me, who just, so I will say that you shouldn't rely on those things. But know your own body and know yourself, and just know that like every few months, it's good to step up. If you realize you're needing those things to get a different lifestyle.
Yeah, I think you've hit a good point. You talked about the bodybuilding there. I mean, I haven't got back into the gym since I've got better, but working out and exercise is a huge part of your mental health for me. And I tried to swim 3 or 4 times a week, and I call them walks because I'm not quite at the jogging stage again yet, but we will get there. And I try to do some long walks as well. And I think getting that fresh air and doing the exercise is better for me than anything else with regards to helping me cope with things, helping me think things through. Back to
Yeah.
the caffeine comment. I've been on decaf now for 3.5 years, and he's not in the audience today, but I met Jay Tilson for the first time. I think you might have met him as well. You met him, yeah, in San Francisco.
Yeah.
I met him for the first time at Black Hat Europe last year, and I'd had a really crap night's sleep. I'd rented this, so I'd gone on booking.com to rent a room last minute. Everything was sold out. Managed to find one for like 100 a night. I was like, yes. I turn up at this place. I go up to the desk. I said, oh, I've booked a room for tonight. The bloke turns around and he said, this is a residential building. We don't rent apartments or rooms here. I was like, all right, okay. I thought I had the wrong address. So I went outside, rang the number on booking.com. She answered and she said, oh, yeah. She said, you have to go back in there and tell him you're staying in your friend John's apartment. Right. So I go back in there, tell the man on the desk, who winks at me and then passes me a key. I go up to this apartment. There's people's washing hanging out in there. There's stuff in the dishwasher. There's all this stuff around. I rang the person back and said, look, I'm not being funny. I'm really not comfortable. It's clear someone's living here. They're like, no, it's a previous guest. You'll be absolutely fine. And then I found out the front door didn't lock on the apartment. I had nowhere else to stay. So that night, I probably got 3 hours sleep. I was waiting for someone to come bowling through the door every 5 minutes. So when I met Jay in the morning, he said, what do you want to drink? I said, I'll have a coffee, please. Do get me an espresso. And considering I hadn't drunk caffeine for over 2.5 years at this point, I had this espresso and I was like the rabid squirrel off Over the Hedge, if you've ever seen that kids film, who drinks a can of energy drink, start frothing at the mouth and then like bouncing off all the walls. So when you said, give the caffeine a break for a month and then it works, it really does work. Yeah,
it really does. Yeah. I use energy drinks so sparingly now. If I have one, it's because I got a rough night of sleep and I'm like, these bags don't lie, but like I gotta show up today and be on point. Although I'm kind of known for speaking very quickly. I love The West Wing, which is a TV show that was on in like the mid 2000s. One of the best shows ever been on TV. I love it. They speak so quickly in that show. They had to train the actors with like speech trainers to speak quickly. And I love keeping up with that show because I'm like, it goes at my speed. As fast as my thoughts go, that's how fast they talk. And on webinars, I'll be like, all right, here's the deal. I have exactly 45 minutes to give you an hour and a half of information. So we're going to get through it really, really quickly. And you can slow me down later in the recording. That's fine. Moving into red team. Here we go. People are like, oh my God.
You made me drop my vape.
What drugs is she? They're like, what drugs is she doing? And I'm like, no. This isn't me on drugs. Actually, this is me normal. Actually, my interns have me on decaf because they're a little fed up with me right now. So periodically they put me on decaf.
Oh, it's brilliant.
But I just speak this fast normally.
It's brilliant. Another question in here, which I'm not sure if you've got any knowledge about or not, but Usama, who's clearly studying to become a penetration tester, has asked for your comments about the EJPT certification. Do you know anything about that? Is it worth doing?
Yes, I do. And I would have said pen testing certification. In my opinion, to hands-on keyboard skills. And my qualm with so many people I meet with like certs out the yin yang don't have so many applicable skills that I ask for, or they don't know how to take something out of a training environment and apply it to any environment. So I would have said that is one of my favorites. And it still is. It's still a great learning platform, but I'm also a fan of the TCM entry-level pen testing certifications and track as well. Because both, I think TCM does this a bit better than eLearn Security, but it focuses on practical, real-world, real job penetration testing skills, like how to show up day one and be a value add to your team. If it's low-level scripting, if it's automating some things, that. Whereas EJPT doesn't just say, read about how we would use Metasploit. Here's how you actually download it and run it and learn it, which is great to have. But not as in depth as I think some of the other ones out there that are out there today. So that is my plug for that, but still a great one.
I suppose that brings us on to the whole conversation around the perceived skills gap at the entry level part of the industry. I mean, I'm a newbie to the industry, but my honest opinion as a layperson is the only place there's a skills gap is in the leadership part. And what there is at the bottom part is a huge mismatch between the HR departments, hiring managers. And because of everything you just said about certifications, you know, people going out and collecting certifications, which is great. But if you can't actually apply that knowledge that you've learned, how are you going to be valuable or employable to an employer who's got to make money? That's what their business does, you know, and you hear people complaining that they can't get that first foot in the door. What do you think the answer is to that as an industry? What can we do better to get more people in?
Start recognizing the skills that transferred. Like, I wouldn't be here today if someone hadn't taken a chance on me. And I sat there in that interview and said, listen, I am completely unskilled technically. I don't even know what IP address it is, okay? Like, but I learned quickly, I retained well, I can turn around and implement immediately. I'm great at public speaking. I'm great at writing and, you know, reading like big audit type documents. I have great attention to detail. I'm good at breaking down really complex concepts for really non-technical people. And I said, I had to tell them what the value add was. I didn't just stop there. I said, so here's the deal. All those reports you don't want to write, all that research you don't want to do, all those meetings you don't want to attend, I will do that for you. And in there, and I started.
Oh.
Yep, I'll wait.
You're back.
Okay. Back. And so I didn't stop there. I actually told them how those things applied. And I said, this is exactly what I'm going to start doing for you. And then once I get in there, and once I got in there, I was like, you'll see where else I can add value. And I did. I started taking on more stuff, taking stuff off their plate, making myself an expert in that thing. And so I think it comes down to hiring managers, recognizing transferable skills and talent. And it comes down to the entry-level talent saying that, listen, if you don't know how to use certain tools, if you don't have the shit out of what you do have, recognize what you do have and tell me exactly how that solves a problem that I have. And I guarantee you managers will resonate with that. But it takes us getting candidate advantage, get conversation first. So many people can't even get to that conversation. So it's just hiring as a whole in the industry is broken from the manager side, from the recruiter side, from the candidate side.
I completely agree. And I think playing devil's advocate again, managing expectations on the candidate side, we can point our fingers at the boot camps and the certification providers, which a couple of people have done in the comments there, who have got some portion of blame to be put to them with regards to how the industry's evolved when it comes to qualifications and when it comes to what people's expectations are when they break in. But I think as individuals, if you're stupid enough to think you can study for 6 weeks and then get a job off the back of it, it's a pretty big stretch, isn't it? Let's be honest.
It really is. What you need to do is go through those boot camps and then say what you learned or how you're applying what you learned, or write a blog about it or synthesize it in some way. Like, showing up with a certification for me isn't enough, because I got my certifications after the fact. I actually got my master's and my CEH and everything else after I had already become a red team operator at Zoom.
Oh, you're gone.
And do it.
You're back.
You can do it. Yep. Capability alone. You can do it without having passed the certification. I had one mentee who couldn't pass Sec Plus for the life of her. She was getting 98% on all her practice tests, took it 3 times, couldn't pass it. There was just a roadblock. And I was like, concept or this idea, or tell me the curriculum. We're going to go with that. That's how we help you.
Yeah.
So
do you think
it really,
do you think there's a place? Sorry, go on. No, please go.
No, go ahead. I'm done.
Okay. Do you think that apprenticeships could be an answer for this part of the industry?
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Someone said in the comments, we need more on-the-job training like the military. Actually, I say this physically in the same talk coming up at Hacker Summer Camp. I say, I wanted to join cyber where they don't give anything out. They don't give entry-level positions to anyone who just says, hi, I want to be here. They're like, that's cute. What do you add? But in the military, they take 18-year-olds and by 21, turn them into mid-level managers. They do give you management level training like candy in the military. They take you, they completely break you down, and they train you up from scratch the way they want. Why can't we do that in cyber? If we had people who were just interested to be here and we let them ride along with pen testers, ride along with sysadmins, ride along with NOC and SOC and detection engineers, we would have twice as many tomorrow as we have today. Like, apprenticeships are a great solution to this problem.
Yeah, I completely agree. There's another couple of comments in there which digs in a bit deeper to what we're talking about. So Uma's put, I've seen a lot of industry experts mentioning that certs don't compare to practical knowledge. While we can see that the majority of jobs you see advertised, they're all about you having the certs. So again, that's another part of the industry that perhaps we need to try and make some changes in. And Uma's question is how we can skill that badge while choosing the least possible certs and focusing on actual work that shows the potential as a real prospect. So how can people do that if they don't get the certs? Is it building home labs? Is it finding the right employers who can actually look further than the end of their nose and see what talent is? Dare we say that as well?
It's all those things. Honestly, this is why I've never ever submitted a black hole of applications somewhere and just like, that would work for me. Every single opportunity that I have ever came to me based off of my LinkedIn activity, based off of, I was like, basically I said, listen, no one's going to give me an opportunity to show them what I know. I'm just going to start showing it on the only platform I control, my profile, right? Yeah. I'm going to start demonstrating how I applied this, telling a story from work, showing I built, showing a thing that I worked with, showing a thing that I made, showing a report that I wrote. And I am going to start showing them my knowledge, whether or not they want to see it. So this is a great question because if you do complete a certification, honestly, every single cert that I've targeted had to further my career in some way. Would I have loved to have gotten all these fancy SANS certs? Yes. But when I started this job, it was more important for me to learn secure coding and Kubernetes practices. So I learned Code Ninja instead. And I'm like, but you need to add value to your position, right? You need to give them a reason to keep you on the project, to keep writing you a paycheck. So you need to add value to your team. So learn the thing that will add the most value to your role today, become an expert in that thing, automate that thing, make it take 10% of your time. Abilities. So what you can do is, if no one's letting you show them what you know, just start showing people anyway. Build a repository, put resources together, write a blog, build a lab, do a demo, throw something on YouTube. And then you can point to link them in your freaking resume. Yeah. Link to a thing that I built right there. Built this in Python. You want an expert in Python?
A thing that I built that relates to the job that you're trying to fill, and this is why I can fill it. Yeah, I completely
right there.
Agree. I just got a comment here from.
So a lot of.
Sorry, go on, Meryl.
No, go ahead.
It's because of the delay. You keep dropping out. I keep over talking you, so apologies for that. I'm certainly not meaning to. Medusa's just put a comment in there. I'll bring it up on the screen so everyone can see what one I'm talking about. I'm partnering/volunteering with an organization that teaches teens in the islands to hack and pen test, a philanthropic venture by an awesome US entrepreneur. Are you talking about Adam Dennis and Antigua Recon? Because if you are, Medusa, I had a call with Adam today, and we're hopefully going to bring the InfoSec Live events over to Antigua for an Antigua Con early next year. So if that is who you're talking about, may even get to meet you next year. Sorry, Meryl, what were you saying before I rudely interrupted?
No, that's okay. I hope that oh, she says yes. That sounds awesome.
Yay.
Hi, love you.
Excellent. No,
that's Ray, by the way.
Adam's doing some great work over there, training up youngsters to be pen testers. They've been doing all sorts of exercises. Good. They've done their first job at the moment, I think a few weeks ago as well, with another one lined up. So again, all practical hands-on stuff, teaching them how to do the actual job and write reports and take notes and translate those notes into reports at a later date, which is all important skills, right?
Yes. So keep in mind, people can have such a don't know risk or detection engineering or all these other things. Doesn't mean I'm just a CEH. So when people put these job descriptions together, they just throw a bunch of certifications on there because they're like, we think if you know one of these, you probably know enough around it also to be able to contribute. But they're like looking for a set of skills and they don't know what package it's going to come in. So they cast as wide a net as possible, which opens you up to a lot of, but it also like just kind of makes it like, what are you looking for? Like you just told me you're looking for different people, not one person. So as well as you can, talk to the recruiter, talk to people who work at the company. I will literally do it like a hacker. I'll go to someone working there and say, do you know anything about this project? Yeah, they're hiring for a blah, blah, blah. What is that? Oh, really? All we need is someone who can map control statements to NIST control statements, demonstrate this, and then good. And I'm like, great. Now I know how to tailor that thing. So it's just one of those things where it's such a catch-22 because they need to be open to a whole lot, but that opens you up to way too much and it confuses candidates.
Does. I mean, again, it's back to, it's not what you know, it's who you know, isn't it? You've got to reach out to people. You've got to build that network and make those connections, Meryl.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear that? You did?
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
No. I said it's all about building up that network and having the right connections. It's not what you know, it's who you know sometimes, isn't it?
No, it's not even that now. It's not who you know. It's what do people know about you? What are people saying about you when you're not in the room? How far does your brand carry itself? Like, I'm at the point now where someone goes, we're thinking of spinning up a purple team or whatever. Someone goes, oh my God, have you heard of this chick? She's literally out there talking about it all the time.
Well, let me just repeat what Jerry said to me on the call. Jerry Ogier from Simply Cyber. Big shout out to the Simply Cyber crew if anyone's watching. Oh my God, how did you get her?
I love them.
She's awesome. So there you go. Your brand, the brand is strong with you, young Meryl.
Yes, it is. The brand is strong. I just want you to know I love his resources. My own mother, I'm working on getting her into cyber, and I sent her right to him and was like, "Learn this, Mom. This is your strength. This is where you will be valuable." Brilliant. So great resources out there from them as well.
Because we've had a few connection issues, I'm going to do one more question, then wrap things up for today. The final question, Meryl, is what would be your message to someone who's trying to break into the industry today?
Okay, so my advice to you is to find out where you're going to fit most easily first. I don't care where you want to be. If you want to be in pen testing or in whatever, first find out where you can provide the most value with what you already have. Get your foot in the door and then pivot to somewhere else. Okay, so when I came in, I had no technical capabilities whatsoever, but I was good with really big, long documents. I'm good at talking to people. I started in risk. And from risk, I learned to prop myself. So no matter what it is, a list of things that you're good at, a list of 5 things that you're good at today. You're good at it. I don't care if you're good at this thing. Make a list of things you can get paid for. Like things that you want to do that you can get paid for, and then make a list of things that you like to do and try and find something on all 3 of those. But if not, pick something you're good at that you can get paid for, immediately start providing value, and then pivot yourself somewhere else. Use that as a stepping stone, backwards plan, have an exit strategy, know how long you're going to be there, and then pivot somewhere else. But most intelligent for you, where you already outshine other people.
So this isn't about identifying areas in the market to learn. This is about identifying your self-discovery, right? Finding out what you're good at and where your existing skills can bring in. Is that right?
Yes. I mean, once you're in, then it's intelligent to look at the cyber landscape and say, where do we need more people? Do we need more cloud experts? Do we need more AI people? Do we need more ethics and compliance people? And maybe you can branch to one of those. But first, give yourself the unfair advantage. I have never, ever shown up to an interview where I didn't already have the advantage, because I think if you show up to a fair fight, you didn't prepare well enough. So I am always doing the research and knowing exactly what I'm going to say to these people that makes me look like the best value add to their team. And that's how you need to get in. And again, if like, let's say you've been a sysadmin for years and like you have to start off in a NOC or in a SOC, but you don't want to be there, just get there. Be the most badass of the analysts that they have until they're like, yes. And then they're like, oh my God, this guy is so.
Yeah. Yeah, I
you want to
completely.
do next? And then they will ask you, and then you can say back to the org, like I already have. Give yourself as
Love it. Meryl, thank you. Sorry, thank you so much. I'm going to have to cut it
I
short for
learned this
two
from the
reasons.
first 90 days. The first
Oh, I'm going to have to cut this short for two reasons. The first reason is the internet connection. The second one is my Mac power source isn't working, and I've got a message on my screen saying your Mac will sleep soon unless plugged into a power outlet. So before I leave this stream open for the rest of the day until my laptop charges, Meryl, thank you so much for coming on. It's been amazing, even with the connection issues. The insights you've offered out to people are absolutely phenomenal. I hope to catch up with you again soon, perhaps have you on the show again in a few weeks or a few months' time. That would be amazing. And I wish you every success for the future as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me and for listening to me, you all. Thanks for bearing with us. We in security persevere no matter what the problems are. We just keep going.
Love it. Thank you, Meryl. And
will you be at summer camp? Will I see you there?
So where's summer camp? Is that Black Hat?
Black Hat.
Yeah, no, I'm not going. I'm back over to Tampa at the end of August for an event that I'm hosting there. After that, I'm not sure, but I'm not going to Black Hat. No,
okay.
But I definitely want to catch up with you soon and have you on the show again. Everyone in the audience, thank you for tuning in. The questions and the engagement, again, has been absolutely phenomenal. Thank you. Have an amazing day, everyone, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.